do all the work. I don't know about you, but if I had to do all the marketing writing behind Explore ProTech, we would fail. We would fail. If I had to be the one creating the learning outcomes for the projects in higher learning institutions, we would definitely fail. If I was the one that had to facilitate new students in regards to guiding them like physically, showcasing and guiding them as to how do we interact with each other. I can explain to them how, but Megan Deers is the one to show the way because she's doing it and building those relationships. So there are 1,000 things that I am not. And if I'm doing the things that I'm not supposed to be doing, then I'm not really building anything spectacular, am I? I think it's about you find the brightest spark for the brightest space and you just let them shine. If I need something built in a very particular way, I will find the very brightest spark for that very particular spot and have them do exactly what they do the best and then put it all together. So, am I doing all the work? No. Am I building out the space? Yes. But I'm relying on the resources of the people that are behind me. Chris, I'm very curious to hear what you think based on your experience of communities and spaces. I'm very curious to understand what your thoughts are.
I especially like when communities are collaborative. And we're still not recording, but I'm happy to chat anyway, if you'd like.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So collaborative spaces like Explore Protect, I think make the most sense in terms of um, for your business, that if you can collaborate on a project that brings in revenue for everyone involved, um, or that brings exposure or other coveted business help, I think that's where communities really shine in business. And the other part of it too is being able to ask our peers. I've definitely been in some marketing related communities where I can pose a question, and writing as well, where I can pose a question and get a perspective from peers.
Oh, yes. No, no, I like that. I think that's probably you've hit the nail on the head quite accurately in the fact that if I build out a space, I'm building it and filling it with people that are going to benefit me. But at the same time, the people in the space need to understand that it needs to benefit them too. And that's the whole collaboration within community. If you join a community, but only the owner or the leader of the community is the one benefiting because it's only his projects or only his stuff or only, then it doesn't really make much sense to be there because then you're just an asset in a space being used to build something else. Whereas you should feel like you joining a space to build your own. And in the process, everybody is helping to build each other. I think that access to skills and access to each other is probably one of the most important things ever. I mean, I heard the other day that I don't know the name of the space and I wasn't interested in the name, but somebody joined a space and never got to speak to anyone. Basically arrived and got to do their elevator pitch, and then everybody else got to do their elevator pitch, and then that was it. And they're paying big money to be in that space, and it just didn't make any sense to me. Um, Although I can understand the business model. I can understand the business model. That makes perfect sense to me. Um, but people are probably one of the best assets you will ever come across. Um, I never build anything on my own, ever, well, because I'm lazy. Just, I'm just, I like to have resources around me, and I like to select the best of the best. Which is why Krista is here, which is why Sondra is here, which is why Lisette is here. I don't surround myself with random people.
Well, and I think that that's that's part of knowing what you need. So you know what you're good at. You know what you can do. You know what you're good at. There's a difference between what you can do and what you're good at. A lot of us can do a gazillion things. I can do tech, but I was saying not good at now. But there are some things in tech I'm like, no, this is way, way above what I can do. And if I can't Google it in 5 minutes, then I need to call an expert. That's kind of my rule of thumb. If I can't Google it and do it in 5 minutes, let me go pay because it's going to be less or use a resource, maybe not pay, but use one of my resources because it's going to save me time, frustration, and probably money. Even if I have to pay for it, it's going to save me money because money is time and time is money. So definitely knowing who is good at what in your communities it is great to know. And then find out who is learning. So maybe you give somebody a chance that's learning something. You know, hey, I have this needs to be done, and I'm not looking for an expert. I just needed to get it done. And so maybe you rely on that first time person or that second time person or that intern. I've used interns. I've been an intern. It's actually how I got um, started with helping, and I did an internship that led me down to the entrepreneurial road or path. So don't disconnect people just because they're not an expert in their things. Give people a chance. So that's definitely a resource. Use things. Um, Ask your kids, ask your family. I had somebody the other day was like at a family event, and I asked cousin so and so and cousin so and so. Next thing we know, we have these great, amazing people on our team because he just happened to be in the room and asked the cousins. He knows their family, and some of that's worked out really, really well. Um, Others said yes because they're a family, and that doesn't always work out, but it can go both ways. So definitely knowing that, knowing who's in your space. And if somebody comes in new into your space or new in your community, make the effort to get to know them. I think that's the biggest thing. If people didn't get to know me, like I know you, Peter, are really good about like you should go talk to so and so. You should connect with so and so. Oh, you have this problem, let's connect. Or you're new. Here's like Somerville would be a great person for a newbie to turn to talk to, you know. Um, so you have your people that are great with welcoming people in, and then some people, are very cut and dry strategic, and you might not send those to the new people because that is not a good resource for that. But I don't mean to get off the community topic too, but other resources is using family or using if you're in a town in the US, internships is a big thing, whether it's high school internships, college internships, bachelor social work, whatever, masters. Almost all the schools have some type of internship program. I had a client where they paid for the internship. Like she just had to direct them and give feedback and she had a role in it, but she got a free internship or a free intern that was getting paid by the college. She didn't have to pay for the intern. She just had to apply. She got approved. She had an intern. So there's definitely different ways to use resources and be creative with that. I think as new businesses, we have to think outside the box. When it comes to resources, because that's where we can get stuck and be like, nobody's here. And internship is a very lonely road if you choose it to be. That's a choice. When people come to me frustrated or da da da, I don't have any help or da da da, and I'm just like, okay, well, what about this or what about that? And I'm just like, no, 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 no. And I'm like, okay, then you choose to be alone and frustrated, or you could choose, to talk to people and use the resources you have around you. So being creative is extremely important. Um, yes, we're back live stream. There's a disconnect. It's all good. The amazing Susan will try to fix it, or we'll just have two of them and we'll be fine. Either way, I made it work. Like my resources would have been nip, throw it out the window, forget it. We're not recording. I'm not going to do it. I'm like, nope, let's just let them talk and I will keep working on this. And yeah, there's some things y'all missed, but that's fine. We'll get it there. But I always feel that people have resources. They just sometimes don't know how to tap into them. Some people don't like to ask for help. I have very, very strong-willed family and business people in my life that asking for help is not their strong suit. Um, I feel it hurts you if you don't, and I can get stubborn. Trust me, my husband will tell you that I guess a million times, and my clients. But asking for help just improves not only you, but your business, your world, the people, your clients around you. So those are some other tips about resources, is that get creative, ask for the help. I mean, there's no shame in that. Everybody doesn't know everything. There's just no way to know everything. So, uh, come on, Peter. Sorry, get comments like all over different screens.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. In regards to thinking outside of the box, I mean, a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we look at somebody's title or we look at what business they've built, and we only see that as their skill set or what they're good at. But what we fail to see is what skills did they have to learn in order to build what they've built. So somebody may be a business coach, and but on the road to becoming a business coach, they have had to find resources. They've had to understand marketing. They've had to understand what spaces work for them. They've had to put on many hats to get to where they are. So you can't look at the final destination and go, oh, that's what that person is good at as an asset. Oh, they're just a good business coach. No, they are much more than that. They have access to skills. They have access to what applications work for them. They have access to, there is a vast variety of experience that they've developed in order to build or get to where they currently are. You can't just look at the end result and go, oh, I've got a business coach resource, and if I need a business coach, I go to that business coach. They are more than that. They've had to walk a long road and a hard road, and they've had to push and wear many hats. And the only way you're going to figure out what did they learn, who did they learn it from, what experiences did they have, what skill sets do they have other than what they look like as an end result, is to actually build a relationship with them and learn from them. I'm pretty sure that uh, both you, Sondra, and Krista, and Lasecha have done multiple things in order to build out your one space, but you're not limited to being seen as just this because you've had this whole history of experience, this whole history of, and we as entrepreneurs tend to look at other entrepreneurs and just look at the title and go, oh, they're just a writer. Or they're just a writer if I need this. Or they're just this. People are not just that. They're not just the final result. They are an accumulation of multiple experiences, and we can learn from those experiences. And that's the mistake we make. We just label our resources as, oh, they're just this. They're not. They are that and so much more. Because they've had to build things. And when people build things, they experience. And when they fail, they grow. And then when they fail again, they grow some more and they get more experience. And why would we not want to learn from that? Why would we not want to dig into who that person is and how they got to where they're going? Because we can only learn from where they've been. So if I look at the members in my space, sometimes I will go to somebody that's a business coach, but I need to make a decision based on something else, but I know that they've traveled that road because I've built the relationship. So you've got to see people for more than their title. You have to.
Yeah, 100% agree. Learn from other people's experiences. As I tell my kids, learn from my past mistakes. Like everybody's like, oh, don't tell your kids about X, Y, and Z or da 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 da. And I have adult children now. And the youngest one's 17, and she probably knows more than my adult children, even though she's only 17, because I'm like been through a lot more than and can share with her a lot more than I did with my 28-year-old. It's different because I've been through more things. And sometimes people are like, da 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 da. And I'm just like, well, it doesn't really matter. You can apply those lessons, and it's up to you to share the lessons, because I always feel that if you only share the good parts or as social media says, the glimpses into people's worlds, you don't really know somebody. You know, I can be like, I know some people. If I say I know somebody from social media, I don't know them. I just know them from social media. I only know what they shared. Um, so that is definitely very true. Get to know people, relationship based, and that's one of the biggest things for me as a business owner. I'm very relationship based. So that's extremely important to me. And that also comes in when you get in a tight bind and you don't have a resource off the top of your head, or you have a resource and you've built that relationship with that person, you can go to them and go, hey, I know you charge hundreds of dollars for this, but can I pick your brain? And not all the time. Definitely don't do it. Don't use people like that. But once in a while, when you're in a big jam and you go to that resource, they're going to be more than willing to be like, hey, I can help you for 5 minutes because we've done X, Y, and Z together. You've sent me business. We've built businesses together. And I'm thinking of a particular person, and I'll just be like, I'll pay for your time. Your time is valuable. And he'll just be like, no, we have built in the last 2 years. You've built clients for me. I've helped you build your business. He goes, you having me help you with something tech is no big deal. Like, I'm not going to charge you for that because we have a relationship already based, and it's not based on charging nickel and diming each other. It's about the relationship we've built in the last 2 years. And I value that very much. And I don't think I would be where I am in my business if I did not value the relationships that I've built and continue to build. So go ahead, Peter, and then we're going to wrap up. This is a little dicey. We will make it work on the back end as best we can so that it flows
All
well.
good. It's all good. It's a human space. We'll treat it as such. Um, a little tip or a little bit of a trick. If you're battling with your marketing, go and speak to your writers. Because writers have this uncanny knack of tearing apart their own spaces for their own purposes for marketing. And because they are word-based and wordsmiths, when you approach a writer and not just a marketing specialist, I mean, you get marketing specialists that are great, but go see your writers first, and drop your thought process in their laps. They tend to have this uncanny knack of rewording things the way that people actually need to hear them instead of the way that you want to say it, if that makes sense. And a lot of people don't think of that as oh, look, that's an asset, or that is a resource, or they want to, so do you want to go to your marketing people? Yes, go to your marketing people, but go to your writers. They have this way of explaining a space that you can't do yourself. I can't. I don't want to. I'm not good at it. It would suck. It would be terrible. Don't underestimate your writers. If we look at Megan Deers and we look at Krista and we look at, for the life of me, Rona. How many proposals has Rona done in our space? And when I put together a team for a project, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to make sure that that particular project has a particular writer whose style lines up with the project before it even goes into the marketing space. Line up those resources, build relationships with your writers, build relationships with your marketing specialists, build relationships with your dear Lord, build a relationship with your virtual assistant. You just don't understand how it all comes together. And when it does come together, it's magical. And you've saved yourself from a brain hemorrhage because you didn't have to think as much because the right people were doing the right thinking in the right spaces for the right reason at the right time.
Yeah,
Probably
for
so.
sure. For sure, Peter. Mr. L put in the comments, sometimes even marketing people cannot do the writing. And that's very true. A lot of times marketing people are not good writers. They can do strategy, but they might not be the writer person. Just, and I know I always, when people say they need a social media person, I'll be like, okay, for what? Are they writing the content? Are they writing your strategy? Are they creating your posts? Are they engaging? Social media person is a very vague term. Same as virtual assistant. A virtual assistant can be everything from a data researcher to runs everything, the whole company. If you stepped outside, they would run the whole company. Like there's that gamut of virtual assistants. So I always cringe when people say virtual assistant um, or a writer, or like you said, a marketing person, because there's so much to that term. I always tell people, like, what are the tasks you want a VA to do? Because then that will create, do you need a marketing VA? Do you need a research VA? Do you need a general admin VA? Do you need a social media manager VA? And yes, you're blessed and lucky that Somerville does a lot of different things really, really well. Because that's not usually the case. Not all VAs can do many things well. So, and I've had to learn by trial and error. I'm telling you, yep, that is not me. Let's find somebody else. So having that, knowing what you need is so, so important. And sometimes it's trial and error. Sometimes it's like, okay, I thought I needed a general admin, but I need a marketing person, or I thought I needed a marketing person and I needed a writer. Sometimes you just have to learn by trying. Don't try forever. Don't like waste time and energy giving people, months and months and months and hours and hours and hours, of course. Be studious with your time and your money, of course, including resources. A good resource might be great for one thing, but it's not for another. It doesn't mean you necessarily need to use that for both. For sure, for sure. Thank you for people that hung in. I definitely will do our best to at least connect these link-wise so that you can hop between the two of them. There was a very lofty conversation going on in the first one too, so I feel bad. I have no idea why I stopped streaming. But speaking of streaming, so next week we are taking a week off. I will be traveling. And the good and the bad of me producing means that the good and the bad is if I'm not here, it doesn't happen. Bless Peter. He's just like, we'll take the day off. I'll like, you have two options. You either do it or I'll take it off. But I actually will be traveling. So we will not be here. So we'll be back in 2 weeks and we will start a series on financial. April is actually financial literacy month. So we're going to talk about a lot of different aspects of finances. And not just boring aspects, but like the good, the bad, the ugly, the fun, the not so fun, and so on and so forth. So we will definitely be picking up that theme in April. And of course, reach out if you have any suggestions, comments, or feedback. My link is always in the bio, and so is Peter's, so you can reach out to either one of us on LinkedIn. And then, of course, everybody that's on the show, their link is in the show notes, because Susan is amazing and she will figure it out and help me figure out how to make this somewhat streamable, or not the flow. She'll figure out the flow. So we're super grateful for Susan for doing that. And of course, Miss Somerville, who helps Peter do many, many, many things, including she does do some things for the show too. So super grateful for them. I am Sondra. I am your Get It Done coach. I help you figure out what you need to get done and how you're going to do it. Mr. Peter, can you take us out?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we've built the space. We've filled it with people. The resources are there. My link is in the description. If you don't have resources, there's no excuse. You can literally click on the link. We can have a conversation. Let's figure out your space and let's take it from there. This entire show is about education, entrepreneurial education, and learning from each other. So, and it's a beautiful thing when you get a whole bunch of people together and they each just perform perfectly in their perfect space. Which brings us to the end of our show. Ladies and gentlemen, I will end it off with the wise words from, wise words that matter. This close. That was almost you, Krista, but these words are actually from Christine Puerta, which is, may all your wildest entrepreneurial dreams come true.
All right, see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.